Well, today I'm going to debunk anti-aging myths so you stop wasting your time. It's all about the fountain of truth. Now, to get us started, I ask you to send me the ones you absolutely swear by.
Dr. Oz, my grandmother always taught me that by tapping under my chin, I could prevent an unwanted turkey waddle. Is that true or just an anti-aging myth?
I've always heard that an egg white facial can keep the skin firm. Is it true?
I use pillows, or sometimes unexpectedly my 4-year-old twins, because I believe that sleeping on my back helps prevent wrinkles. Is this true, or is it an anti-aging myth?
So many of you asked about wrinkles, so it's our first myth on our list today. Myth or truth, moisturizing keeps wrinkles away. Now, Sally's joining us today. You actually slather moisturizer on your skin and believe that it helps with your wrinkles. Why are wrinkles at the top of your to-do list when it comes to avoiding aging?
I want to fight the aging process every step of the way and stay out of the plastic surgeon's office as much as I can as I age.
Well, it's admirable. Let me ask you, why do you think moisturizer is so effective?
Keeps your skin hydrated, keeps it from being dry, and, keep away the fine lines.
And you're firmly convinced that it helps with wrinkles?
Yes, I am. So far, no work.
All right, so I'm going to ask the audience. Anti-aging, myth or truth? Moisturizing keeps wrinkles away. What do you guys think? Myth? Truth? All right. Let's see the answer. The answer is... It's a myth. It's a myth. Moisturizers are great for fighting dry skin. You absolutely hit the nail on the head on that one. But the question is, can they go deep enough to impact on wrinkles? And I would argue that they don't actually affect wrinkles as much as we think they do. Come on over here. But I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to put a hard hat on. Can you do that?
Yep.
Because we're going to get under your skin. Going way in there to show you exactly why I think I'm right about moisturizer and wrinkles. So this tent is like your skin. It's got a little bit of bounciness to it. See that? It's young skin. So coming under here, these poles are like the elastin and collagen tendrils. They're like posts that hold up the tent. Mm-hmm. They keep it nice and bouncy up there when you're young. Now, as you get older, this scaffolding for your skin, the collagen and elastin, it actually gets weak. You produce less of it. So with age, you'll begin to drop out a few of these. And you'll start to get a little bit of the sagginess. And do you go into the sun very much?
A few times a week, because my husband's a triathlete, so I'll train with him for a couple hours.
You do triathlon training?
He does. I just follow him.
But the big issue for the sun, obviously, is that it tends to damage the scaffolding a lot. When you drop one of those tendrils out, now you end up with big issues. As all these begin to collapse on us, and we end up with this huge wrinkle in here, crumbled on top of us.
Not good.
Right? And with this big wrinkle, unfortunately, come on out, you're stuck. And this is the anti-aging desire we have to get rid of these wrinkles. But the reality is this very thin layer of skin prevents the moisturizer from getting through here, so it doesn't really affect the real problem, which is elastin and collagen. So you can moisturize for dry skin, but it's not going to impact the wrinkles you get.
What will?
Well, the most important thing is to avoid the sun. So you can either compete in the triathlons instead of watching them, or avoid the sun with the appropriate blocks and all. Hope that was helpful.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you very much,
Oz.
Sally. Thank you very much. All right, now Beth is here with another myth she believes about the lips. And here's her myth. She believes that her lips will thin, and there's nothing she can do about it. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Oz.
So why do you think that's a myth?
Well, in my family we have thin lips, and I want my lips to look plumper and fuller and younger, so I brush my lips every day, and I also use those liquid lip plumpers.
You do?
Yes, I do.
And you think they work well?
Yes.
You do? All right.
Yes, I do.
Let me see your toothbrush. And when you brush your lips, do they immediately change, or does it take a little while?
No, it takes a little while. So this way you get the blood really to come to them and they get fuller.
Do they ever bleed?
No, I don't brush it. I don't brush it. I don't brush that
So that's the
hard.
question. There's so many questions we get about lip plumping issues. So how many of you, just think about this, how many of you try to make your lips thicker by using lip liner? Fair number? Put your hands up. Let me see. Most of you. All right. How about there's different plumpers you were talking about, things that make your lips sting a little bit? Even some guys using that now. How about sugar scrubs? How about toothbrush users? Any toothbrush users? You're not many of you, but it's okay. I'm gonna come back to it. And finally, pouting works too, doesn't it? Pouting. A lot of teenagers do that. So you use a toothbrush, you use other techniques that you've talked about.
Yeah.
Does your family have a long lineage of thin lips? Is
Yes,
your mom's
yes.
lips, are they thin?
Yes, and my grandmother's too.
Your grandmother's too, so you blame them.
Yeah, it's probably their fault.
Probably
but
their
I tried.
fault.
But my toothbrush, my lip plumpers try to reverse that.
And when did you start noticing that your lips are getting thinner?
They were always thin, but they got thinner when I went through menopause.
In the menopause.
Yeah.
And why does it worry you?
Well, it makes you look older. Makes you look older, less appealing. Sometimes I think my husband doesn't even want to kiss me enough. You know?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Is he
I
here?
feel that way.
Where's your husband?
No, my husband's not here.
And, it's very interesting, because it's a very profound insight that you think that people don't find you as appealing because you look in the mirror and don't like the way your lips look. I bet you if you asked him, he'd still want to kiss those lips. What do you think?
I think so. I'll ask him.
All right, I'll ask him with you. How's that? All right. So, audience, myth or truth that your lips will thin as you age and there's nothing you can do about it? What do you guys think? Myths or truths? All right. People seem to think it's true. Let's see what the answer is. Put it up there. Your lips will thin. It is true. No matter what you do, they will thin as you get older, especially if your mother and your grandmother have thin lips. And let me explain why that's so. So let's pretend that these lips are like, these pillows are like your lips. They look like lips there? That's not bad. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fairly low tech, but it works. Okay. Now, when you're young, they're stuffed with collagen, nice and plump, like these pillows are right here. But as you get older, you begin to lose some of that collagen. So your lips literally flatten out like that. Right? They end up
Just
looking
like
like
mine
this.
now, yeah.
like lots of art now. And if you're not taking them right, you're beating them up a little bit, right? And you don't treat them correctly, they'll get even thinner. Now, I got one little secret for you. And this is the only advice that I would share with someone who wants to try to slow down that natural aging process of their lips. It turns out that just like the sun damages those collagen poles over there under your skin, it'll also damage the elastin and collagen in your lips. Because they're basically rolled up bits of collagen and elastin. And so if you can use a little bit of sunscreen on your lips, it'll probably help.
I will.
Worth trying?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you so much.
All right. Our next myth, sleeping braless gives you sagging breasts. Well, I piqued your interest. Christine, you say you believe it.
Yes.
Who told you that?
Well, my Aunt Gert always told me.
Aunt Gert.
Yes. And
Does Aunt Gert know a lot of things about breast sagging?
she is 93 and she looks great for her age.
I love
and
that.
I believe anything that she tells me.
God bless her.
So-
That's wonderful. All right. So Aunt Gert says it worked for her anyway.
Okay.
And do you think it works for you? And if you do, in what ways do you think it works for you?
I just, always sleep with a bra on. And I feel like it makes my breasts a little bit perkier. And as I age, I had 4 kids. And as I get older, I'm 42, they're not as perky as they used to be. So anything I can do to help, I'll try.
You end up focusing on that a lot, that they're not where they used to be, let's say?
It happens. I try not to focus too much on it, but I do think about it.
Has anyone besides your own observations reinforced that that's happening?
No, not to my face.
Okay, good. Just making sure. So how many of you agree that sleeping braless actually encourage your breasts to sag? True or myth? It's myth. All right, let's see. Sleeping braless gives you sagging breasts is a myth. It's a myth. And let me show you all why it's a myth. It's a very important observation that I want to make with all of you. So this is a little demonstration of what your breast actually looks like when you're young. You notice it's suspended by these ligaments. Go ahead and feel those ligaments. They're pretty taut, aren't they?
Yes.
Right. Now, what ends up happening as you get older, and you have those 4 kids, for example, is the breast can't maintain itself there. It'll begin to slowly come down, lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower like this. Right?
Oh, boy.
These ligaments begin to stretch out, they thin out. I know you're unhappy about this, but it's what happens to your breast. They actually begin to sag because these ligaments aren't as tight. So instead of being up here, all these ligaments are now loosened up. So you can put the bra on, but that's basically what's happening to the ligaments. When you let go, it'll come right back down again.
So it doesn't.
Right? So it doesn't make a huge difference if you
Right.
wear the bra or not. This is a natural process that will occur as you grow older. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the breasts. It's just they're located in a different place because you're able to give birth to 4 wonderful kids and go through the breastfeeding and the rest of those processes. Did you breastfeed, by the way?
Yes, I did.
You did. So all that is part of what the breasts are supposed to do.
Yes.
So it's okay that it gets a little bit longer once in a while. Now, I understand you have another question.
Well, it's not just about the sagginess. As I get older, I feel like my breasts don't feel the same as they once did. And I wanted to know, is there anything that's going on in my body that's causing that, or is there anything I can do to help?
When you feel, is it softer, harder? What doesn't feel the same?
Well, definitely softer and maybe a little lumpy.
Lumpy.
Yes.
A little mushy, like mashed potatoes
Yes.
sometimes. All right. So the breast itself, in addition to the ligaments changing, will lose some of the fibrous tissue that it used to have. That's why mammograms in young women aren't as accurate, because that fibrous tissue confuses the image. And you'll get more fat in the breast. It's a very natural, very normal change, especially as you get older and go through menopause eventually. That will also change the constitution of the breast. And these are normal changes. The good news, it's a big silver lining around the black cloud that some perceive when they see their breast changing in shape and location, is that you can actually examine your breasts better. I mean, it really is a huge advantage, because now you can figure out on your own if the lumpiness is normal lumpiness for you, or if it's a lumpiness that should get someone like me to see. Make sense?
Yes.
Any more questions?
No, I'm good.
You're okay?
Thank
Sure?
you. Yes. Thank you
I've
very
embarrassed
much.
you enough?
Yes.
All right. Tell Aunt Gertrude she's welcome on the show.
I will. She'd love to come.
Thank you for joining us. Our next anti-aging myth is never pluck a gray hair, because more will grow in. Amy is joining us. She actually thinks this is true. We're going to find out if you're right or not in a second. But maybe if I can first ask you a few questions about the graying process. Where are you first noticing it?
Well, I notice it on the sides by my ears, and I notice a few on the top of my head. And they started growing in about 4 or 5 years ago. Just a few, just 4 or 5. And right now I use a rinse to cover it up, and that does the trick for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then it's time to rinse again.
So I've got my tweezers. Can I pluck one out?
Sure.
No, you're supposed to. If you believe the myth, why would you let me pluck it?
Because you're Dr. Oz.
I would never do that to you. I would never do that. All right. Now, why do you believe that plucking out your hair might actually leave more to grow in the same color, the same white color?
Well, a couple of years ago when they started growing in, my girlfriend and I were talking, and we both had heard somewhere that if you pull it out, they'll come in faster. You'll get more, and they'll come in more quickly. So I'm afraid to do it. She's plucked a few out, and she has more grays than I do, so I don't want to do it.
Maybe she's right. Why is graying hair at the top of your list when it comes to dealing with anti-aging issues?
I want to look as young as I feel. I'm 45, and I teach 2nd grade, and I want to look young because I feel young. I go dancing, I enjoy life, and I don't want to go gray right now.
Well, you are young inside, which is frankly what's going to matter long term down the road.
Right.
But let's deal with the cosmetic issues for a second here. All right. So, audience, I'm going to ask you all a question about this myth. True or myth? Plucking a gray hair will cause more to grow in. What do you guys think? Very split. Let's see what the answer is. The answer is it's a myth. Wow. It's a myth. It will not cause more to grow in, but let's go over what really happens when you pluck your hair. Because most people don't really appreciate what's going on deep inside there. So, Amy, this is your scalp. Okay, now on your scalp, you've got individual follicles, like these tubes, that give rise to the hair, the dark hair that comes out of your scalp, which is exactly what you want, right? All these tubes form this little big, little network underneath the scalp, which gives rise to all the hair that comes out. Only one hair can grow out of one tube. Not 2, not 10, never. Only one. Now here's a gray hair, if you notice. So what happens if I pluck out the gray hair? If I wiggle it, right? And as I'm doing that, which is typically what you do, you'll actually traumatize it. And when you traumatize the follicle, it's really distorted. It starts to scar. You get blood around it, and that can scar it as well. And then finally, you extract that single gray hair that you were worried about. So it looks good on the top, but you've damaged that follicle down below. Forget about new white hairs growing in. You can have nothing grow in. That's worse than going gray. Right, I'm glad your jaws are dropping over there, because it should be. Right. So once you've damaged this follicle, nothing's going to grow out of it. And another thing that might happen, if it doesn't get so damaged that it doesn't work anymore, is the new hair that grows out, which will be the same color, there's nothing you've changed that's going to alter that, will grow in coarser, and it won't grow in the same line as the other ones. It's going to come straight out like a white flag, like a surrender flag. So everyone's going to see it. So your friend may not have more gray hair, she just may have more obvious gray hair, because she can see it now more readily because it's going in the wrong direction. And you don't want this to happen to you, do you?
No.
So message is, those gray hairs ought to stay put, because plucking them could do serious damage to your scalp. Are you convinced?
Yes, thank you.
You want to take this gray hair home with you?
Sure. Thank you.
It's a gift from the show. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.